Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Inhumanity The Awakening issue 1, which is a mini-series part of Inhumanity. Before I start talking about this issue, I have lots and lots of exclusive comics for Comic Uno episode 26 we're up to already. I got about 22 comics this week, including digital. So here are all exclusive comics for episode 26, which is annotated, which is a Dark Avenger Inc. show, where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. So here are the exclusive comics. Invincible, issue 107. I wrote all the digital stuff on index cards. Lazarus, issue 5. Wolverine X-Men, issue 39. Indestructible, issue 1, which is like IDW new comic. Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue 6. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 700.3. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 700.2. Nightwing, issue 26. Nova, issue 11. Smallville, Alien, issue 1. Inhumanity, Uncanny X-Men, issue 15. Superboy, issue 26, and last but not least, Powerpuff Girls, issue 4. And those are all the exclusive comics. Let's get into Inhumanity The Awakening, issue 1. So this is a spin-off of, I guess spin-off technically, from The Hunt. I didn't particularly love The Hunt. I remember I read the first issue and I was like, wow, this is kind of weird. So I dropped it after the first issue. But this does seem interesting. I love teenage superheroes. I'm a fan of them. So going into Awakening, I knew it was a teenage superhero Inhumanity thing, and I thought it'd be interesting. The cover looks pretty cool too, with the mix of like Pixie from the Jean Grey Institute. I think she's in the Jean Grey Institute. Some Avengers Academy kids. So we got a mix of a lot of kids from different schools. And then the pod thing, which is pretty much the main story of Inhumanity. So really like the cover. Let's see if I like the story. So in this issue we get to see that, and I hate that this got a little ripped on top somehow. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I was just looking at that. It was on top of my pile because I knew I was going to review this first, and I see this ripped this whole time. I'm like, I hate that. But going on to the story, we get to see that, you know, things are happening after the whole bomb of the Inhumanity place. I don't remember what their thing is called, but since it exploded, people are becoming Inhumans because of some serum type thing that comes out of it, and whoever has the Inhuman gene is going to turn Inhuman, which could get confusing, and I'll get to it as my review goes on, but that does get a little confusing plot hole wise. So in this issue we get to see some of the mutants, some of even the Avengers Academy, which I don't even think all of them are mutants, but some of the people, all these teenage heroes, are on Twitter finding out everything about Inhumans, like, oh, well, something's going on. In this viral Inhuman, I would say, this girl, she documented through Twitter what happened through the whole process of her becoming Inhuman. You know, there's some negatives about it, some positives, like, oh, you go, girl, type things. And we get to learn a little bit of her life story through Twitter. And the people from Avengers Academy, you know, Julie Power, but also Pixie, so the mix of all these different young heroes go help this girl, and she was going to commit suicide, but she didn't, and we find out in the end, I guess spoiler alert, if it's a little bit of a spoiler for this, the brother ends up becoming an Inhuman also, and is destroying, I think like an apartment building or something, and that was the end of the issue. I like this issue. I thought it was kind of cool. It's definitely better than The Hunt. I really did not like The Hunt. But there's some really interesting stuff here. I think there's a lot to read, which kind of confused me. I like the idea of the Twitter thing. I do, you know, I think sometimes it could either be very overused and very boring, and I think there is a little slight boringness to it, but also really funness to also. I think the best way they ever used Twitter with comic books, or like, you know, using narration as Twitter was probably in Spider-Girl, and that was the first time I saw that. Not Mayday Parker Spider-Girl, but Arena Spider-Girl, and I think they did a pretty good job with the whole Twitter thing over there. And we have the Twitter thing here where it's people reacting to this one girl, I guess this famous girl becoming an Inhuman, which I liked the documentation of it. I thought that was cool, but there was this part on the top where you're going to see like every page people really reacting to it, and I, as someone that read 22 comics in one day, I couldn't read all of it. I really couldn't. It wasn't that informative. I liked just reading the blurbs, and I think you got enough from just reading what the characters were saying. But it was definitely a lot to read all this Twitter stuff, and I think I would have gotten a little annoyed if I did read all the Twitter stuff. But I think it's just there for you. If you really want to read it, you can, but you don't have to read it. So that was, the good thing about the Twitter thing and the bad thing. But the story overall was interesting. I liked the character. I like the idea of these teen heroes really helping the Inhumans and trying to discover who are these Inhumans and what does this mean for the world. The art was a little sketchy. I'm going to give it that. Art was not a particular favorite of mine. It wasn't horrible, but it was a little sketchy, so I didn't love the art. A little abstract, I would say. But overall, I thought this was an okay issue. I liked the cliffhanger enough to pick up at least the next issue, see where it goes. And I think this was fun. I thought it was a fun issue. So I do recommend it. Much better than The Hunt, in my opinion. And if you're excited for Inhumanity and you want to learn more about it, I think this is a mini-series for you to pick up, because we're learning at least a little bit more of who was in that pod and what their experience was. So I'm going to give this a 3.5. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno. And guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and their own situations. And don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.